So next chapter ആണ് chapter 3 perfect and related chords. So നമ്മൾ already discuss ചെയ്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ തന്നെയാണ്. What is C? C is a linear chord. Linear chord means for every V and W there sum belongs to the set C. Okay, and any linear chord of length is 2 raised to n, and we have distance. What is distance of any two elements means? That is the disagree position, number of disagree position, and weight of V means V is a chord word, and weight of V means the number of ones occur. Okay, so this is the terms. Next നമ്മൾ consider what is next? Next we discuss generating matrix. Generating matrix means that generating matrix G means when G for using G we can find a linear chord C. So that is the generating. Normally definition then generating means it generate. This matrix generate the linear chords. This matrix generate a chord words in the linear set. Okay, so that is the generating matrix G. And next parity check matrix. A parity check matrix means is of the form X with I, where X is the number of non-zero elements in the row echelon form. So first we have a matrix A, then this matrix reduced to a form echelon form, reduced echelon form, that is REED. Okay, so that form. So that form like we convert then a non-zero elements form a parity checker, that is a number of non-zero rows with the identity matrix, that is H is equal to matrix X with the I. So that is the parity check matrix. So number of the rows of parity check matrix which form a basis for C. Clear? So that is the basis for the linear chord C. So its dimension. So number of basis elements in C, that is the dimension of the linear chord. Okay, so that is denoted by K. So we have a linear chord NKD. Clear? So already we discussed this. So linear chord with NKD. So N is the number of length, its length, and K is the dimension. K is the dimension which has basis of K elements. Okay, and D is the distance. D is the least distance. D is the distance of chord, means it is the least distance in the set C. Okay, so these are the terms. Okay, next we find the first section is some bounds for chords. So bound means it's some boundaries. So the limitations of chords in the limitations, that is C in the chord constraint, and length of C predict. So length of C must be less than or equal to some number. That means the chord word length of the chord is some limitations. Bound means some limitation or some boundaries. Okay, so that's the main item in the next sections. Main item constraint. Clear? So here that is the size of the main item. Bound means size of the chord. Size of the chord is also length of the chord. Okay, length of the chord that is size of the chord. Okay, so that next we discuss the size of the chord. Chord in the size we define some terms and some chords. Okay, so that is, so first means if T and N are integers, so less than or equal to T less than or equal to N, the symbol NCT normally constraint. So NCT means that is N factorial divided by T factorial into N minus T factorial. So NCT means is the number of words of length N and weight T. So number of words of length N and weight N we discuss D discuss. So this is the NCT. So next we have theorem. If 0 less than or equal to T less than or equal to N, and if V is a word of length N, then the number of words of length n of distance at most t from V is precisely N0 plus N1, NC1 plus NC2 plus etc. plus NCT. Since there are 2 raised to n word of length n, setting t is equal to n, we substitute t as n, then this, that is N0 plus NC1 plus NC2 plus etc. plus NCN equal to what? 2 raised to n. So this is the theorem. So which means V is a word of length n, a number of, that is a denote. So the number of words of length n of distance at most t from V. So V in the constrain t distance lulla words chord word constrain. So if we choose V, this is V and W. Their distance is t. Okay, so that is the definition. Number of words which is closer to D, closer to V, or number of words of length n of distance at most t from V. This is the denotation. So this sum is what? The number of words of length n of distance at most t from V. But the meaning and the exact meaning. So V in the what is the number of words which is closer to V. V odu close ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള words അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് number of words find ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. V ഓട് close ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള how many words which is closer to V. So we can find that numbers. Okay. So this is the formula. NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 plus etc. NCT. So okay. If T is equal to N. So what is T is equal to N? So suppose setting T is equal to N. So we have what? NC0 plus N1 plus N2 plus etc. plus NN. Okay. What is N0? Is 1. This one also 1. What is N1? N factorial divided by 1 factorial into N minus 1 factorial. Plus what is NC2? N factorial divided by 2 factorial into N minus 2 factorial plus etc. plus 1. Okay. So what is first 1 plus, that is 2. Okay. 2 plus, what is this one? N factorial. So N factorial divided by N minus 1 factorial, N minus 1, 1. Next, N factorial, this one. So that is N minus 1 into N minus 2 divided by 2 factorial. N also, I'm sorry, N into, okay. N into N minus 1 plus N into N minus 1 into N minus 2 into 2 factorial plus etc. plus 1. So we have binomial expansion 1 plus x whole raised to n is what? 1 plus n into 1 plus n into what? X. Actually, I'm sorry, this one. N minus 1 terms cancel, so n is remain. Here, n into n minus 1, n minus 2 cancel this one. So, next term is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 divided by 3 factorial plus etc. Okay. So, what is binomial expansion? 1 plus x whole raised to n is 1 plus nx, n into n minus 1 by 2 factorial into x raised square plus etc. So, what is 1 plus 1 whole raised to n? 1 plus 1 n by factorial plus n into n minus 1 into 2 factorial, this one, etc. Okay. So, last term marimba namukku 1 thanne kittum. Okay, clear. So, this is same as this one. Clear. This is same as this one. So, we have what? N0 plus N1 plus N2 etc. plus Nn, which is equal to 1 plus n whole raised to n. 1 plus n whole raised to n, that is 2 raised to n. So, this summation is what? 2 raised to n. Clear? So, this is the proof. So, this is the theorem set. So, what is meaning? a number of words of length n at a distance at most t from V is defined this one. So we have 2 raised to n words which is closer to V. Clear? So next we consider if C is a chord of length n and distance d is equal to 2t plus 1. So next we define, W is closer to V1 and W is also closer to V2. That distance must be less than or equal to t. So that is d of W V1 is less than or equal to t and distance of W with V2 is less than or equal to t. Clear anlo? So V1 is closer to, W is closer to V1 and which is also closer to V2. So that their distance must be less than or equal to t. So chord word of distance another d ana. Okay. So and we assume the distance, the chord word length of the C is a chord of length n and distance is 2t plus 1. Okay. So we define distance of V1 with V2 which is less than or equal to, already metric property and consider them. So d is the distance. Distance is also matrix. So by triangular property, distance of V1 with V2 is less than or equal to what? Distance of V1 with the W plus distance of W with the V2. So this one is less than what? T and this one is less than T. So T plus T, that is equal to 2T. So 2T is less than what? 2T plus 1. So what is meaning? Distance of V1 with the V2, their distance less than D. So D ne katlum less than. So which is a contradiction to the length, which is a contradiction, the chord, the distance. Distance of the C is D is equal to 2T plus 1. So distance of a chord means what? It is the least distance of any two elements. So the least distance ആണ് നമ്മളുടെ chord word distance എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay. So least. So that is D is equal to 2T plus 1 is the least distance. So here distance of V1 with V2 is what? Which is less than 2T plus 1. So that is means the distance of V1 V2 is, it is the least element. So which is the contradiction to what? 2T plus 1. To 2T plus 1 node എന്താണ് contradict ചെയ്യും. V1 V2 distance എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് which is less than D, but D is the least distance. So this is the contradiction. So what? If C has a length and distance 2T plus 1, the list of words Kn at a distance at most T from a chord word V1 has no chord word in common with the list of words at distance at most T from a chord word V2. Clear? So, we already assumption endarnu W is a word which is closer to V1 and W is a word which is closer to V1 and also closer to V2. So, this is not possible for any, that is the number of words, number of chord words. Okay. So, the number of what? The number of chord words at a distance at most T from a chord word V1 which has no chord, that is no common word which is closer to V1 and which is closer to V2. This is not possible. So this is the meaning. Okay. So next we define, so what are the limitations? What are the limitations? നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ലിമിറ്റേഷൻസ് പറയുന്നത്? അപ്പം നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞു ഏത് രണ്ട് വേർഡ് എടുത്താലും നമ്മൾ കോമൺ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. അപ്പം നമ്മൾ V1നോട് ക്ലോസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് വരുന്ന വേർഡ്സുകൾ വിച്ച് ഈസ് നോ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതെന്തായിരിക്കില്ല, ദർ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് ഓഫ് വേർഡ്സ് ഓഫ് വിച്ച് ഈസ് ക്ലോസർ ടു V2 ആണ് നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞു. സോ അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് കോഡ് വേർഡ് ലെങ്ത് നമ്മൾ പ്രിസൈസ് ചെയ്യുക, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കോഡ് വേർഡ് ലെങ്ത് അതിനൊരു ബൗണ്ടറി കേസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്, അതാണ് നമ്മുടെ നെക്സ്റ്റ് തീരം പറയുന്നത്. So that is the Hamming bound. Okay. So Hamming bound means what? A C is a chord of length n and distance d is equal to 2t plus 1 or 2t plus 2. Okay. T is any integer. Then length of the chord, okay, or size of the chord into n00 plus nz1 plus etc nct, which is less than or equal to 2 raised to n. That is, the length of the chord is less than or equal to 2 raised to n divided by this one. So this is the Hamming chord. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ Hamming bound. That is length of the അല്ലെങ്കിൽ size of the chord എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്തായിരിക്കും? ഇപ്പോൾ C എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു chord consider ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ their size must be less than or equal to this number. So ഒരു ബൗണ്ടറി കേസാണ് പറയുന്നത്. സോ നമ്മൾ എടുക്കുന്ന chordൽ അതെന്തായിരിക്കണം? അതിൻ്റെ ലെങ്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വിച്ച് ഇസ് ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു ദിസ് വൺ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ മീനിങ് എന്താ പറയാ? ഒരു ബൗണ്ടറി കണ്ടീഷൻസ് അല്ലേ പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ദ ഹാമിംഗ് ബൗണ്ട് ഇസ് ആൻ അപ്പർ ബൗണ്ട് ഫോർ ദ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് വേർഡ്സ് ഇൻ എ കോഡ് ഓഫ് ലെങ്ത് n ആൻഡ് ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് d is equal to 2t plus 1. ദിസ് ഇസ് an upper bound. സോ എവറി കോഡ് വേർഡ് നമ്മൾ ഏത് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്താലും their size is less than or equal to 2 raised to n this one ആണെങ്കിൽ this is an upper bound for the number of words in a chord of length n and distance d is equal to 2t plus 1. Therefore, t is equal to what? D minus 1 by 2. So, this is the Hamming chord. Clear? So, we consider an example 3.1.4. Just look at. So, here C is the linear chord of length 6 and k is the dimension. Okay, d is equal to 3 and d is equal to 3 means 2. What is d? 2t plus 1. So 2t plus 1 equal to 3, which implies what? T is equal to 1. Okay, that is t minus 1 is equal to 2t. So that is 2 is equal to 2t. T is equal to what? 1. Okay, and so size of that is Hamming bound. Hamming bound by definition less than or equal to 2 raised to 6. Hen is 6. So 2 raised to 6 divided by 6 0 plus 6 1. What is t? T is equal to 1. Okay. 6 0 is 1 and 6 1 is 6. That is 64 divided by 7. What is 64 divided by 7? 64 what? Some 8. 8 square അല്ലേ? So 8 square is less than 7 ആണ്. 8 square is less than 7 എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഇതിന്റെ ലെങ്ത് പറയുന്നത് എന്തായിരിക്കും? മസ്റ്റ് ബി ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു 8 ആണ്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ 64 ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ 7 വാല്യൂസ് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുക. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് 64 ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ 7 വാല്യൂസ് വരുമ്പോൾ സംതിങ് 9.14 സംതിങ് വരും. ഓക്കെ, സോ നമ്മൾ പ്രിഫൈസ് സ്ക്വയർ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എന്താ 8 സ്ക്വയർ ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ 7 ആണ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് സോ എന്താണ് വിച്ച് ഇസ് ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു 8 കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാം. സോ ദ ഹാമിംഗ് ബൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ദ ലീനിയർ കോർഡേഴ്സ് ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു, കാരണം നമുക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു ഹാമിംഗ് ബൗണ്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലെങ്ത് ഓഫ് ദ കോഡ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കാർഡിനാലിറ്റി ഓഫ് കോഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എപ്പോഴും എന്തായിരിക്കണം? സോ മോഡ് സി ഓൾവേസ് ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു 2 raised to n. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് മോഡ് സി ഇസ് ദ പവർ ഓഫ് 2 ആണ്. 2ന്റെ പവേഴ്സ് മാത്രമേ മോഡ് സിക്ക് വരുള്ളൂ. ഓക്കെ, സോ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാം? സോ നമുക്ക് 8 സ്ക്വയർ ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ 7 കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ വിച്ച് ഇസ് ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു 8 വരെ നമ്മൾ സപ്പോസ് ആക്ച്വലി 64 ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ 7 എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ സംതിങ് 9.14 കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാം. സോ നമ്മൾ പ്രിഫൈസ് സ്ക്വയർ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാം. നമ്മൾ 2ന്റെ പവേഴ്സ് കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് 9 കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ലല്ലോ. സോ വി ഓൾവേസ് കൺസിഡർ ആസ് എ പവർ ഓഫ് 2. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ടേക്കൺ ആസ് 8. സോ the Hamming bound of C is less than or equal to 8. So that is means the Hamming bound of C which is less than or equal to 2 cube. Clear? So 2 cube ആണെങ്കിൽ that is K as K എന്ത് വരും? This one. 2 cube means K is less than or equal to 3 means what? Its dimension 2 raised to 3. 3 എലമെന്റ്സ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ അവിടെ വരിക. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ കെ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എങ്ങനെ ചൂസ് ചെയ്യാം? 3 ആയിട്ട്, ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് 2 ക്യൂബ് 3 ആയിട്ട് ചൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. സോ ഡയമെൻഷൻ ഓഫ് ദ കോർഡേഴ്സ് വാട്ട് വിച്ച് ഈസ് ലെസ് ദാൻ ഓർ ഈക്വൽ ടു 2 ആണ്. ക്ലിയർ? സോ ദിസ് ഇസ് ദ ഹാമിംഗ് ബൗണ്ട്. സോ നെക്സ്റ്റ് വി ഇത് എക്സസൈസ് ചെയ്യാം കേട്ടോ. So Hamming bound means what? It is an upper bound. Okay, upper bound of number of words in a chord. Clear? Next നമ്മൾ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് Singleton bound. So Singleton bound means for any linear chord nkd, that is n is the length, k is the dimension and d is the distance. Always d is taken as 2t plus 1. Okay. So this condition is whole. That is d minus 1 less than or equal to n minus k, which implies what? D minus 1 minus n less than or equal to minus k. That is k less than or equal. I'm sorry. this one, that is this one. So singleton chord means d minus 1. This the distance hold here, d minus 1 less than or equal to n minus k. This one resultant. This is true. This is hold for any linear chord nkd. Okay. So d minus 1 minus n less than or equal to minus k. And which implies what? K is less than or equal to d minus 1 minus n. Clear? So this is the k is less than or equal to d minus 1 minus n, which means this is the singleton chord. Clear? So proof ആണ് constraint. So the the parity check matrix H of an nkd is a linear chord of n by n minus k matrix such that n by n. Okay, so H is the parity check matrix means what? Parity check is n by n minus k ആണ്. So here the d minus 1 rows of independent variable which form a basis for V. Okay, so this is the independent variable. So which means d minus 1 rows means what? D minus 1 rows. So d minus 1 rows of H are linearly independent vectors. So each row have length n minus k. അത്രയും ലെങ്ത് അല്ലേ നമ്മൾ അവിടെ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുന്നതൊക്കെ. സോ അങ്ങനെ ആണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ n മൈനസ് കെ എന്ത് വരും? ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് വെക്ടേഴ്സ് വരും. അപ്പൊ n മൈനസ് കെ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് വെക്ടേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അത് എന്തായിരിക്കും? അത്രയും വെക്ടേഴ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ n മൈനസ് കെ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് സെറ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അറ്റ്മോസ്റ്റ് n മൈനസ് കെ, മാക്സിമം നമുക്ക് എന്റെ പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഏത് വരാം? n മൈനസ് കെ വരാം. സോ ദിസ് അപ്പൊ നമുക്കിത് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് വരും? We have d minus 1 rows of H form a linearly independent set, and also we have n minus k rows of independent sets. നിങ്ങൾ സെമിനാർ പോർഷൻസ് ആണ് പാരിറ്റി ചെക്കിൽ. സോ ഇത് ക്ലിയർ ആവും. ഓക്കെ, സോ അങ്ങനെ n minus n റോ വെക്ടേഴ്സ്, ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് റോ വെക്ടേഴ്സിന്. സോ ബൈ മോസ്റ്റ് എത്ര വരാം? n minus k വരാം. സോ d minus 1 must be less than or equal to what? n minus k ആണ്. So equally k less than or equal to n minus d plus 1. So for any linear chord, k must be less than or equal to n minus d plus 1. This is the singleton chord. Okay, അപ്പോൾ ഇതാണ് നമ്മളുടെ കണ്ടീഷൻസ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കിവിടെ രണ്ട് കേസസ് ആണ്, സിംഗിൾട്ടൺ കോഡും ആൻഡ് ഓൾസോ ഹാമിംഗ് കോഡ്. ഇനി ഇതിന്റെ രണ്ടിന്റെയും കണക്ഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എപ്പോഴും സിംഗിൾട്ടൺ ബൗണ്ട് ഇസ് മച്ച് വീക്കർ ദാൻ ഹാമിംഗ് ബൗണ്ട്. സിംഗിൾട്ടൺ ബൗണ്ട് പറയുന്നത് ഹാമിംഗ് ബൗണ്ടിനേക്കാളും വീക്കർ ആണ്. സോ ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് ഹിയർ considered n is equal to 15 and d is equal to 5. So by Hamilton bound we find k is less than or equal to 9. So that is fine. We can, so here n is equal to what? 15. N is equal to 15 and d is equal to 5. So d is equal to 5 means what? 2t plus 1. So 2t plus 2t is equal to 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. T is equal to what? 2. Clear? So n is equal to 15. So the this is less, size of the C is less than or equal to what? 2 raised to 15 divided by n0 plus, that is 15 0, 15 1 plus 15 2. Okay. Which is equal to 2 raised to 15 divided by this one is 1 and this one is 15 factorial divided by 14 factorial into 1 factorial plus 15 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 1 factor, 2 factorial. So which is equal to 2 raised to 15 divided by 1 plus cancel number, that is 15 plus what? This is 14. 13. 13 divided by 14 into 15. 2 divided by 7. 7 into 15. 7 into 15 is 105. $121. I have a doubt. Just verify this one. Okay, this one. So here Hamilton bound is k less than or equal to 9. And then verify our problem based item. And what is the singleton? Singleton chord is k less than or equal to n minus d plus 1. That is 15 minus 5 plus 1. That is 10 plus 1. That is equal to 11. So singleton chord, in singleton chord, k is less than or equal to 11, and Hamilton chord, k is less than or equal to 9. So verify here. I can verify. Next time. Okay. So k is less than or equal to 11, and Hamilton k is less than or equal to 9, which means dimension is less than or equal to 11. Dimension is less than or equal to, that is number of basis element is what? Which is less than or equal to 11, and here number of basis element is less than or equal to 9. Clear? So which means some number of basis elements in the maximum possibility 1 up to 9 elements in there. So this one is weaker than, that is singleton chord is weaker than Hamilton chord, means that is k is less than or equal to 9 means what? That basis element, the basis element is, number of basis element is 9. So which can be generate the whole linear chord. In singleton chord, k is less than or equal to 9. So that basis have 11 elements which generate the linear chord. So which is the better? A small element we can make a basis, we can make a linear chord. Which is the better? This is better. Elements basis elements elements basis elements, so which is more better? So number of basis elements so namukku 9 elements 1 up to 9 elements namukku linear chord generate cheyan pattum, and here a k is less than or equal to 11. So that means 1 up to, so 11 elements which generate the linear chord. So which one is better? This Hamilton bound is better. So this basis has a small, this basis has 9 elements which generate the linear chord. So which is the strongest chord? Okay. So in every chord, singleton chord is weaker than Hamilton chord. Okay. And the next term is a linear chord NKD chord is said to be maximum distance separable, that is MDS. So MDS means what? If D is equal to n minus k plus 1 or k is equal to n minus d plus 1. So this is the condition. The distance D is equal to n minus k plus 1 or equally k equal to n minus d plus 1. So this is the relation, that equation, what this equation connect with the length, dimension and distance also. Okay, so this is the relation. So for any linear chord NKD, d equal to n minus k plus 1, which means that this chord, linear chord is said to be MDS. So we have NKD, and C is a linear chord. C is a linear chord with NKD aanankil, that linear chord said to be MDS means what? D is equal to what? N minus k plus 1. So this is the definition.